In the quiet town of Lexington, Massachusetts, in 1743, a young man named Benjamin Carter grew up amidst cobblestone streets and colonial hustle. From an early age, he was different, curious, observant, and deeply patriotic. While other boys played outside, Benjamin pored over pamphlets and newspapers, soaking in the stories of liberty and oppression from across the Atlantic. He knew that England's grip on the colonies was tightening. Taxes on tea, the Quartering Act, and the increasing power of the crown were constant reminders that freedom came at a price. Benjamin's father, a simple blacksmith, often warned him to avoid trouble. "Son," he said, hammering iron over the forge, "don't let anger blind your mind. Watch, learn, then act wisely." But Benjamin's heart burned with a desire for justice. By 1765, news of the Stamp Act reached Lexington. Benjamin, now 22, attended secret town meetings. The local patriots whispered of resistance, of challenging the unjust taxes. He quickly became known for his sharp mind, eloquent speech, and ability to inspire others. Friends called him the voice of reason, but Benjamin felt the weight of responsibility. Every night, he stayed awake drafting letters, reading revolutionary writings, and planning ways to awaken the townspeople. Little did he know that his actions would set him on a path to become one of the unsung heroes of the American Revolution. Tension in Lexington grew. The British troops were no longer invisible. Their presence was felt on every street, and every merchant's ledger reflected the harsh taxes. Benjamin organized small reading circles in barns and attics, teaching ordinary citizens about their rights. He believed knowledge was power, and if people understood the injustice, they would rise. It was during one of these secret gatherings that Benjamin first met Rebecca Halloway, a spirited young woman who shared his vision. Together, they dreamed of liberty, equality, and the birth of a nation free from tyranny. As winter approached in 1770, Benjamin's town was restless. Rumors of unrest in Boston reached Lexington. The Boston Massacre had already stained the streets with blood. Benjamin's resolve hardened. He understood that the coming struggle would demand courage, sacrifice, and leadership. Young men like him were no longer spectators. They were soldiers of freedom in spirit, if not yet in arms. And Benjamin, though untested in battle, felt a calling deep in his soul. He would not let history forget his people's fight. By 1774, tensions had escalated. The British Parliament passed the Intolerable Acts, closing Boston's port and asserting total control over the colonies. Benjamin, now 31, realized that discussion alone would not secure liberty. He became a pivotal figure in Lexington's underground resistance, smuggling information, coordinating messages, and preparing the local militia for eventual confrontation. In the dead of night, Benjamin and his companions gathered in a hidden barn. Maps sprawled across the floor. Candles flickered, casting shadows over their determined faces. "We cannot wait any longer," Benjamin said, his voice steady. "Boston fights, and soon the rest of the colonies will. Lexington must be ready." The men nodded, understanding the gravity of their mission. Their task was dangerous: espionage, sabotage, and organizing militias without drawing attention from British patrols. One wrong move could mean execution. Benjamin's courage inspired others. Farmers, shopkeepers, and even children became messengers, carrying letters and intelligence. Rebecca, by his side, risked her safety to deliver notes disguised as laundry, Each successful delivery strengthened the resolve of Lexington citizens, but danger lurked at every corner. British informants prowled the towns, and suspicion was constant. Despite the fear, Benjamin never wavered. In April 1775, Benjamin received word that British troops were marching toward Concord to seize colonial weapons. Lexington prepared for confrontation. Benjamin and his fellow militia leaders devised strategies, training men in secret and positioning themselves along the main road. Though vastly outnumbered, they believed in the righteousness of their cause. Benjamin knew the odds were against them, but he also knew that courage could ignite the flames of revolution. The morning mist settled over the fields, and every sound, a horse's hoof, a distant shout, sent shivers down the spine of every patriot. April 19th, 1775. The sun barely broke the horizon when the first shots rang out in Lexington. Benjamin, standing with the militia, felt the tension like a physical weight. British redcoats advanced, their boots thudding in rhythm. Benjamin raised his musket, his heart racing. Chaos erupted as men shouted orders, fired shots, and sought cover. Despite being outnumbered, Benjamin's leadership kept the militia organized. He moved swiftly, helping wounded comrades, directing fire, and rallying frightened men. Every action was critical. The battle was brief but brutal, leaving several Lexington men dead. Benjamin's bravery was noted by his peers, yet history would rarely mention his name. After the skirmish, Benjamin led a retreat toward Concord, regrouping with reinforcements. His strategic mind shone. He coordinated ambushes along the road, forcing the British to retreat and suffer unexpected losses. News of their tactics spread throughout the colonies, giving patriots hope that they could stand against a powerful empire. Benjamin's name circulated quietly among the rebels, a symbol of courage, planning, and moral leadership. The months following Lexington and Concord were grueling. Benjamin continued his secret work, organizing supplies, intelligence, and training. Each victory brought new challenges. British forces retaliated, raiding towns, confiscating supplies, and punishing civilians. Benjamin's commitment never wavered. He began writing detailed journals, documenting strategies, sacrifices, and stories of bravery. These writings were meant not for fame, but for posterity, a guide for future generations. Benjamin also mentored younger patriots, teaching them that revolution was not only fought with muskets, but with planning, courage, and unity. The Continental Congress recognized the need for leaders like Benjamin, though many remained unnamed in official records. Benjamin, however, remained humble, focused on the mission rather than recognition. He understood that liberty was bigger than any individual, and every small action contributed to the larger struggle for freedom. By 1781, the tide of war began to turn. Key victories in Yorktown and other battles highlighted the effectiveness of the militia and Continental Army. Benjamin, now older and battle-worn, witnessed the realization of what he and countless others had fought for: independence. Though his name was rarely recorded in history books, his impact was undeniable. The towns he protected, the messages he delivered, and the lives he saved contributed to the ultimate victory. Benjamin returned to Lexington a changed man, wiser, quieter, but with a heart full of pride for the nation he helped defend. He spent his remaining years documenting stories, sharing lessons with the next generation, and ensuring that liberty, courage, and sacrifice were never forgotten. Benjamin's legacy reminds us that history is built not only by famous figures, but also by those whose bravery remains largely unseen.